Welcome to Dependable Flame, where we explore vintage petrol lighters, ashtrays, tobacconiana, and other useful mechanisms. Make yourself at home.
Today we have a vintage Windmaster Brown & Bigelow Remembrance lighter. This one a dual tone, or actually tritone. We've got a black lid, the red case that has white printing on it, advertising for Kraft Company of Chicago. I did a little bit of research, tried to figure out if I could determine if this Kraft Company was still in business. And I didn't come up with anything. Came up with some other Krafts in Chicago, Kraft Heinz in Chicago and Pittsburgh, but nothing of this particular RB Kraft in Chicago. It's an interesting lighter though, and the Windmasters are not typically marked on the outside. So the base of the lighter is just slick, but it is marked Windmaster, registered on both sides of the windscreen. And these lighters have a really solid, sort of unique windscreen. Very high, built up, very sturdy. You can see the clean looking wick down there, and some corrosion, rust, other corrosion has happened over time down there on that spring that holds the lid on. It's a leaf spring that fits underneath the pin of the lid, which reminds me I still need to work on figuring out a tool to remove those, because our buddy Gary asked me to during one of the live streams that we do. I also don't believe that I have seen a Windmaster that has this little tab on the back. I don't know if that is some kind of improvement over the others. Really don't know. Doesn't really hurt the aesthetic of the lighter at all. Still very attractive. There are some scuffs, scratches, dings, some corrosion here along the lip, the top, or I guess that's the bottom lip of the insert. Has some plating loss, corrosion, rust, you can see there. It's not on the, well, maybe some minor corrosion or plating loss on the other side, but not near as bad as it is on this side. And actually the other side looks pretty good. So we did clear the flint tube in this lighter. We also blew out a lot of degraded flint that had been stored underneath this felt pad. But we got all that blown out with some air, and it's pretty clean looking now. So while it may have been contaminated, most of that has been removed. There may still be some residual flint dust, maybe some minor flint dust still clinging to the file wheel. You can see that the flint tube is clear and that there is a flint installed in the tube and that it is making contact with the file wheel, though I am not going to strike this lighter today or fill it with fuel or anything like that, because it is unused, never been filled that it looks like, or been struck. So glad to put this lighter into working order. Glad to sell this in the dependableflame.com eBay store that we facilitate all those eBay sales through our website on the page dependableflame.com/current eBay listings. And this lighter will not be expensive, probably in the, I don't know, $35, $40 range is where I'll list it. Always glad to field offers and accept them when they're right. So maybe you just collect red anodized aluminum lighters. Maybe you collect advertising from Chicago. Maybe your name is R.B. Kraft. Whatever the case may be, this would be an excellent lighter for somebody to add to their collection, to display, to fill up with fuel and spark it and put it to use, combusting whatever it is that you happen to smoke. Really cool lighter. I love these anodized aluminum lighters in different colors, and especially when you put multiple colors together. It's just a really cool aesthetic and adds to the nostalgia of such an advertising piece. The Windmaster, I wouldn't say that they're unique in the lid hinge system, but they are one of the few that use this sort of system where that spring is humped back here on the back to hold this pin, and that holds the whole thing in place. It's always bothered me a little bit that the Windmaster lighters are not marked on the outside. Just looks kind of cheap to me to have a slick bottom with no markings on it. But when you open up the lid, you see markings immediately of the Windmaster brand and that whimsical script that it is printed in. And then, of course, pull the insert out and you see the familiar Brown and Bigelow markings, registered Remembrance brand, Brown and Bigelow, St. Paul, Minnesota, USA, patents pending. So I've had a lot of these Windmaster lighters and I am a fan, but I don't know that I've had one that was so colorful, and I really like it. I talk about this all the time, that I entered this hobby as a seller, not a collector. I have become a collector, for sure. And man, for the money that I paid for this one, this is one that I would like to keep in my collection, simply because it's so colorful. It's a cool lighter. It's never been used. But that's not the way I operate. There is really no reason for me to keep a hold of this lighter, considering the pretty substantial collection of Penguin Cygnus lighters that I have, all the Zippo lighters. I shouldn't say all, there are a few. Got the new Matthew McConaughey lighter, the Bob Dylan Tour Merch lighter. Those are all in my personal collection. But this one will be listed in our eBay store. It will not be part of the personal collection simply because it's not a theme or a brand that I collect. Although I am fond of aluminum, I am fond of the various colorways that the anodizing process allows. But you will find this one for sale in our eBay store soon. Until next time.